We have more technology to do more things than we ever have from a creative standpoint. And what bothers me a lot about musicians that I have to deal with, it's like, oh, I want to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oh, I love Eric Clapton's tone. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. We've got stuff that you can change the breath factor or the air in a room and all this kind of stuff. You know, you've given guys, you know, ridiculous amounts of stuff, and it's like you want to do the same thing over and over and over again. How's that going to push the creativity in music if I always hear the same Led Zeppelin distorted guitar sound on every single record I get every single day? And I'm supposed to write about those guys?
I have one thing. I'm not going to solve the revenue issues. I mean, I have no idea how, you know, things like Spotify and those kind of things are going to shake out. And I don't know how many of you are artists in the room, but I'm pumped for you. I think it's a super exciting time for you, and I'm going to substitute the word revenue for value and promotional value. And we just aligned with Summerfest. I don't know if you guys know who that is. It's one of the biggest festivals in the world, to work with their bookers and our A&R team to curate and identify 30 bands that get to play in 2015. And, you know, that's exposing artists to thousands of people you might not be, you know, have been exposed to. So I think there's a lot of value out there for artists still.
Well, and I think to what Peter said about Reddit, you know, coming from an artist background, I think we've all experienced this, is when we talk about revenue too, and you say that it's the exposure, the acceptance, the acknowledgement, because that's what revenue is in the early stages. It's just acknowledgement that I did a good job.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can put music out there, have someone hear it and acknowledge it in a way that could never happen before.
Yeah, but you know, it's a stepping stone though too. I mean, listen, our mission is to, you know, when we work with these artists, we want to get you paid. We know, you know, you need to make a living like everybody else. And these things are tied to revenue sometimes, but sometimes, you know, they're just great stepping stones for exposure. I mean, I just did a deal with a publishing company who came to us and found an artist and signed them to their roster. Unknown band, right? Didn't have a ton of traction. Now their first single is getting featured in a full-length feature film coming out in 2015, sorry, with Jessica Alba and Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, that's massive exposure, and sometimes you can't put a price tag on stuff like that. So I think it's just as valuable.
Yeah. Do we have time for a couple questions? We'll just give it a shot.
I'd like to comment on that.
I'm scared that you want to comment on that. Go on.
Your apartment manager can put a price tag on that, and the price tag is $0.
Listen, it's a debate that we have all of the time. You need to weigh a monetary number with exposure and value, and I understand where you're coming from, and I get it. But I've seen a lot of bands get placed in opportunities that have led to bigger opportunities where then they do get paid. I mean, this isn't an overnight thing, right? So, I mean, look at these bands have been pounding the pavement for 10 years or so. Sometimes those are the stepping stones you are willing to take, and if you're not, that's fine too, but I've seen it move the needle.
But it's no different. I mean, you know, look, I should have been a pro basketball player, but I got screwed by my coach, right? I mean, everybody's got a story of why the man kept him down. At some point, you got it or you don't. And there's plenty of people who had it and the stars didn't align. And my biggest frustration sitting on the side of the table as a curator, artist manager, whatever sage wisdom thing we supposedly have, which is no different than you, I just happen to get lucky, is when people come in with their music and their guitar or their voice and they're bitter and they're pissed that somebody else got the shot that they deserved. I can't help that. I can't fix that. I can give advice, I can give a van, but I can't fix bitterness. And a lot of times, if you really look at the people who got screwed, that's what held them back.
I've done this since the 60s. It's like if some gatekeeper, you know this, told you no, game over. Now because of these people, no one can tell you no. So you can get your stuff out there, and then if the next step happens where people react to it, then you can start thinking, now I'm going to be a business person. How do I monetize this? So I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, the technology, the fact that you can now monetize yourself and take that shot, it might not happen, but it could.
I'm in that space as well. There's a company that I have called Greenlight that works with bands and brands. I developed that company knowing full well that Napster was going to take away a lot of the revenue that I was used to seeing on the album side. So I had to tap into that brand dollars in order to continue to fund the artist's career. So what I did is I developed a company that could create programs for brands that were music driven, okay? Where I see it going is brands, and this is going back to everything we just talked about. The beautiful thing is, in the past, brands wanted Beyonce, they wanted Michael Jackson, and they wanted A-listers. Now, because music is so much a part of everybody's lives, they're down with discovery. So it comes down to those dollars are trickling down to that band in the van, right? Taco Bell takes care of bands. They give them Taco Bell bucks all tours to go feed themselves. Sounds like a little, but when you're dealing with a budget, it can work. I think where this whole thing is going is, as long as the dialogue is with the artist and the brand in an early stage of creativity, they will continue to fuel money into this space. If we rape them and pillage them like we did the consumer, the brands will say, screw you, we're taking our money and going somewhere else. So it's about the music industry being adults this time and treating that relationship with respect. And I see that starting to happen. What has to not happen are the middle agents who have no idea how good you are and no idea what the brand is trying to do, brokering a deal and screwing both parties. That's what my concern is. But the health of it is there, and if you're a brand new artist just starting out, do not be afraid to take the corporate dollar as long as they're funding what you're true about and it's authentic, because the audience will call bullshit on you and the brand, and then everybody loses.